accident. Traffic backing up to Fallon. It's making the eastbound ride a little worse as well. And South 680 before Stone Valley Road just got an accident with traffic backing up behind it as it's blocking lane 2. Out of the city, jammed from Cesar Chavez to the Bay Bridge.
This report is sponsored by Pacific Office Automation.
Network. Pacific Office Automation can help you adapt to a hybrid work environment with cloud services, upgrade your cybersecurity, or customize your document workflow. Visit pacificoffice.com today.
BIN, the Black Information Network, is your new choice for 24/7 news. Our stories and all that matters to our community. Listen to the Black Information Network now on the iHeart-Radio app.
It's always been there when you turn on the faucet, take a shower, or water the lawn. So it's easy to think that it's always going to be there. But climate change and more frequent severe droughts are putting our water supply in danger. California is in the midst of a serious drought, and we can take action to help save water. Let's work together to make it last. To learn more about the changes you can make indoors and outdoors to conserve water, visit SaveOurWater.com.
No matter what your financial situation is, you can enroll your child in a child care center or family child care home. Visit findchildcarestanislaus.org.
And whatever you were searching for at 1:15 a.m., it's really none of our business, and it shouldn't be anyone else's. Protect your privacy online for free with DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
Touch after touch after touch.
So 6 hours from now?
Still sanitized.
12 hours?
Yep.
18 hours.
We're really doing this.
24 hours.
When used as directed, one spray of Microban keeps killing 99.9% of bacteria touch after touch for, up to 24 hours.
Wow.
Microban 24. The sanitizer 4 out of 5 doctors would use in their own homes. So why aren't you?
At JCPenney. And so are even more new Black Friday deals this Friday through Sunday. Don new Champion apparel for the family, up to 40% off. Plus, find a little extra sparkle in your savings with up to 75% off fine jewelry. These deals and more end Sunday. Happy Black Friday, JCPenney. Offers valid on select items 11/12 through 11/14. Exclusions apply. Champion excluded from coupons. See store or jcp.com for details.
Yes. Yes to clean, fresh ingredients. Yes to the new chicken sausage and pepperoni flatbread topped with rich mozzarella. Yes to delicious mac and cheese. Yes to putting it on a sandwich, creating the grilled mac and cheese sandwich. And yes to improving the entrance to Sandwich, Illinois. Because that's living life to the flavor fullest. Get $1 delivery when you order on our app. Panera. Live your yes. Pricing and product availability may vary. Visit PaneraBread.com.
It's been your lifeline to the world, and now some big wireless company is telling you got to buy a new phone from them and sign their contract? They don't control you. With TracFone Wireless, you can keep the phone, number, and network you already have. Already got a 5G phone? Keep that too, because TracFone runs on America's best networks now with 5G nationwide. Plus, we've got unlimited talk and text smartphone plans starting at just $20. TracFone Wireless. Now you're in control. 5G nationwide access requires a 5G capable device. Actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
But the deals at Kohl's, way too good to pass up. I got 40% off holiday decor, 40% off the cutest St. Nicholas square finds for the table, and found the toys topping my kids' list this year. You can even save an extra 15% and get $10 off when you spend $25 or more. So now I get the whole early shopping thing, and I'm a big fan. Flex Styles, 15% off ends November 20th, $10 off $25 since November 12th. Toys, coupons do not apply. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Let's get ready to rumble! Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C Sports. It's Charlton with Big C Sports, coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to people who love sports. It's all fair and love of war. I want to say Happy Veterans Day, a beautiful November the 11th, 2021. Give all of our veterans some praise. Give them praise, praise, praise. Today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. When you go by and test drive yours, just tell them Charlton, Big C Sports sent you, as well as a fleet of Cadillac cars. Also, all around the world, you can follow Big C Sports Podcast on 17 podcast applications from Google, Alexa, Spotify, Speaker Podcast, Apple Podcast, iHeart-Radio Podcast, Castbox Podcast, Deezer Podcast, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, GeoSavant Podcast, Podtail, and also supposedly available on Facebook Podcasting And then Hubhopper, Stitcher, Radio Line, Luminary Podcast. That's a lot when you got 17 podcast applications all over the universe. Really appreciate that. Also, you can find us on 4 TV applications for Big C Sports Podcast. That is Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. So give Big C Sports Podcast some praise. Really do appreciate that. As I always say, welcome to the show. I love honoring my family legacy from my great-grandmother, Mamo. She was actually someone who helped keep the whole family together. Very smart, intelligent person. Really appreciate everything taught by her. And then my great-grandfather, Pop, former Negro League baseball player. Very intelligent man. Knew how to keep the family together. Also made the best moonshine in the history of the universe. Known for saying, boy, get out of that barn before lightning strikes you. In level war, you do what you gotta do when they say the lightning can strike you, and he knew how to make his own lightning. They call it moonshine. It's all fair and level war, but a great Negro League baseball player, also a very good-hearted person, made sure we learned how to do things the right way, fishing, etc. My grandmother, also mud did. She was a seer, a very savvy business person, did everything possible to keep our family strong. Really do appreciate that. And then my grandfather, Hezekiah, as well, as a seer and helping to keep the family together. My beautiful mother started a Head Start program in Northern California and helped us win the Little League Championship of the universe. Give us some praise. Give my mama some praise, praise, praise. Always saying, rise and shine. No matter what you do in life, you got to always rise and you got to always shine. Make sure everybody did the right things. Really do appreciate that. And then on my father's side, Albert Curry, my grandfather, he was a pastor, started 2 churches in Oakland, California. Also built a church in Central California and had 2 service stations in Oakland, California. My grandmother, Alberta Curry, she was also, as the matriarch of the family, making sure that my grandfather was working with him with the churches and also the service stations, making sure the family stayed together, all fair and love and war. And then I really want to say my father, happy Veterans Day. My father was a former Air Force fighter pilot for the United States Air Force, also a chief mechanic, and so I really do appreciate making that announcement on Veterans Day. And my brother Todd had the great baritone voice, said, boy, excuse me, did I break your concentration? Give them all praise. Give them praise, praise, praise. Really do love giving praise. As I say, let's get ready to rumble. As we nominated Big C Sports Podcast, as we go rumbling, 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 like thunder and lightning goes rumbling too. As we nominated, no 3-way script, or no teleprompters, no 3-way scripts, no producers, no 3-way teleprompters, nothing in my ear but a little bit of earwax. I love paying homage to my son Malcolm, who sends me NBA stats. He's all over it. Really appreciate his knowledge of NBA, basketball, and then my daughter Daisy, he always helped me set up when sports coaches came to the West Coast, heading set up, getting their names, and doing things for them, as well as Big C with his wealth of knowledge in the past. Give them all praise. Give them praise, praise, praise. Really do appreciate that with Big C Sports Podcast. Why SB dominated? I produce the show. I direct the topics. I broadcast the show. I do all the sound effects. I do the commercials. I do the stats providing, the storytelling. I say, excuse me, did I break your concentration? I do the play-by-play, touchdown, home run, 3-point play. Oh, man, Willie, he's going all the way. I think only the old-time Oakland Raider fans will understand the old man Willie story. And then I upload the show to 17 podcast applications, soon to be 18, from what I'm hearing. 17 podcast applications. I don't do the uploading. The agency does out of New York. And then 4 TV platforms. Never missed a show since starting Big C Sports September 12, 2015. As I say, welcome to that $10 million package I'm expecting any day. Now, give that some praise. Don't be hanging a carrot over my head. It's all fair and love and war. It's on the way. It's all fair and love and war. Really do appreciate doing Big C Sports on this Veterans Day. It's so important to me. One of my favorite scriptures in the Bible is Genesis 13:15, where God said, for all the land that thou seest will I give you, and thy seed forever. And also the book of James chapter 4 verse 2 said, we have not because we ask not. If you want something, just ask and give the Bible some praise. I know a lot of people want to say, we thank you to our veterans and God bless the veterans and God bless our troops, but sometimes that's about all people say. I love with Big C Sports Podcast, I really do love saying, God bless our show and God bless our troops and God bless our families. It's all fair and level. We'll give that some praise. Really do appreciate that very much. Also, you know, in the day, it's a Veterans Day. Beautiful November the 11th, 2021, the United States of America. But Big C started a crisis line about 2.5, 3 years ago. It was a veterans crisis line. And I mean, we didn't start it, but just started announcing that. And they really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. Now, I know today's Veterans Day, and people are saying, if you really respect our veterans, then make sure you tip your hat if you see somebody or say thank you for your service. Well, that's fine too. But we've given out a crisis hotline for nearly 3 years. If you're going through issues, you don't have to be a veteran to go through issues with veterans. Pick up the phone and call 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. You can give our veterans some praise. Give them praise, praise, praise. I love giving our veterans praise. It's not just on a day like Veterans Day. Every day we have freedom. We have the chance to thank our veterans, and having a father that was a United States Air Force, a brother who was United States Army, a nephew who's United States Marine, and then friends who are United States Navy. So having a fine Navy Day, I love giving them praise. Give them all praise, our military, because without them, you don't know where we'd be as far as the United States of America. They make a great sacrifice. Really do appreciate paying homage to that. Also very happy to be affiliated with Valley Homes Weekly TV on Dish TV, Direct TV, AT&T Uverse, TV of the used to be first place San Francisco Giants. We'll reach out to them. Just let them know that Big C sent you. Our goal is simple: recruit 10,000 real estate agents and brokers all over this great country to help put people back to work, just like McDonald's does it. Car dealerships do it, sports teams do it, watch TV and real estate work for you. And there's also times when you think about it, people go swiping left and swiping right on different websites. Nothing's wrong with that. But I also want people to know, for the mortgage industry, you can go to ratewatch.com/ratewatchnow.html, or you can go to the nationalrealestatepost.com or mortgagenewsdaily.com, and you can find out more about what's going on in real estate. Give that some praise also. You get that when you follow Big C Sports Podcast. We really do appreciate everything that's going on with Big C Sports. You know, there's a lot of things that have happened in the world of sports today. I really do appreciate that. I also want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, God said, let there be light. Open your cell phones and say, play Big C Sports Podcast. You will see all of our apps pop up, and I really do appreciate the way things are growing with Big C Sports. My goodness, there's been a lot of good things going on in the United States of America on Veterans Day. And I want to say one more time, because we really appreciate our veterans, give them praise. Give them a lot of praise, not just thank you for your service. But I do want to expound on today, as a lot of people can, Veterans Day, some facts about Veterans Day, and everybody has their own opinion about it. Do they really want to get into it? Because it brings back it can bring back bad memories for people too. But Veterans Day originated at Armistice Day, November 11, 1919, the first anniversary of the end of World War I. Congress passed a resolution in 1926 for an annual observance, and November 11th became the national holiday beginning in 1938. So unlike Memorial Day, Veterans Day pays tribute to all American veterans, living or deceased, but especially giving thanks to living veterans who served the country honorably during war or peacetime. I really appreciate that. And again, not knocking anybody, but you can do whatever you feel is necessary to help veterans. Veterans Day occurs November 11th every year in the United States in honor of the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918 that signaled the end of World War I, also known as Armistice Day. In 1954, President Dwight D. Eisenhower officially changed the name of the holiday from Armistice Day to Veterans Day. That's why we call it Veterans Day to this day. 1968, the Uniform Holidays Bill was passed by Congress, which moved the celebration of Veterans Day to the fourth Monday in October. The law went into effect in 1971, but in 1975, President Gerald Ford, he returned Veterans Day to November the 11th due to the important historical significance of the date. And then Veterans Day commemorates veterans of all wars, U.S. soldiers and fighters that helped keep us free. Great Britain, France, Australia, and Canada also commemorate the veterans of World War I and World War II On or near November the 11th, Canada has remembered Veterans Day while Britain has Remembrance Sunday, the second Sunday of November. In Europe, Great Britain, and the Commonwealth countries, it is common to observe 2 minutes of silence at 11 a.m. every November the 11th. That's pretty classy. Every Veterans Day and Memorial Day, Arlington National Cemetery holds an annual memorial service, and the cemetery is home to the graves of over 400,000 people, of whom served in the military for the United States. So I love just doing my part with Big C Sports to do what I can to always honor our veterans. But I don't just do it on Veterans Day. Do the Veterans Crisis Hotline every single day, and I will always do salute to our veterans, give them praise, and a lightning strike. It's all fair and level, where I love honoring our military veterans. And thinking of our military veterans, my goodness, if you're a veteran quarterback and you have the chance to do what I was saying a long, long ago in a galaxy far, far away, and I think I'll be made right about this. The Carolina Panthers, they signed Cam Newton, their former league MVP Cam Newton, the last quarterback to take them to the Super Bowl. It was only Cam Newton and Jake Delhomme that took them to Super Bowls. Cam Newton agrees to terms following the Sam Darnold injury. Carolina Panthers, they need a quarterback. With Sam Darnold out for at least 4 weeks with a fracture in his body. Now, obviously, is his throwing right shoulder. They need someone who can hold down the fort, and I think maybe even win the starting quarterback job. And I think that's Cam Newton's job to win and keep. You'll never guess who they're returning to. In Darnold's absence was a lot of talk around Carolina, but the great Cam Newton. There was a time Cam played over a decade in Carolina. Every year, when you think about it, he was a 4,000-yard passer outside of 2 years. That's the same Cam Newton that was drafted number 1 overall by the Panthers in 2011 and played for them until he was released in 2020. That's the great Cam Newton. Now, the Panthers announced the signing of Newton today following the reported meeting between Newton, the Panthers owner, David Tepper, the vice president of football operations, and then Steve Drummond as head coach of Matt Rule. So Cam Newton obviously is a run-pass option. He can run and pass. He knows the area. The flamboyance that he had as a younger man, maybe he's still going to have that. That's his swagger that helped propel him to become an MVP. And he was going to do fine up in New England until he got COVID. There's so much proof of that. So for people that think, he lost his arm, he can't throw. He can throw, and he can run. I think it's going to be a dynamic option for him, and also for Christian McCaffrey in the backfield. There's rumors that he has signed a $4.5 million fully guaranteed deal. So he returns to Carolina after nearly 2 seasons away. Spent 9 years with the Panthers, including the 2015 season when they went to the Super Bowl, and they ended up losing to the Denver Broncos over in San Francisco at Levi Stadium. But that saw him win the MVP award. And when you think about it, he took a lot of flack in the media when he didn't want to be interviewed and just kind of walked away from the media. And people have jumped on him ever since then. If you look at him as a player, he's so legit. When you think about it, he is, I won't say what a lot of people want to call African-American quarterbacks. Oh, he's flamboyant. Oh, he's a diva. Well, we just had a quarterback in touchdown, Aaron Rodgers, who lied about COVID. Cam Newton, when he got COVID, he told people he had COVID. And he told about the vaccine, so I believe he's vaccinated now. But look at how the media treated Aaron Rodgers with kid gloves with the issue about COVID and whether he's flamboyant or arrogant. It's just been 2 different kind of treatments. I think Cam Newton, he's worked hard, and Bill Belichick even said he was the hardest worker that he had. So signed by New England Patriots following his release from the Panthers, he started 15 games for the Patriots, but was released before the start of the 2021 season after a misunderstanding of an NFL-mandated COVID-19 test. Ask Aaron Rodgers about the misunderstanding. Okay? Newton was unvaccinated at the time and was forced to stay out of the team's facilities for 5 days. The Patriots said that testing mishap did not cost him his job, but we know that it did. And then allowed Mac Jones to come on and play for the Patriots. But since then, Cam Newton's been without a team. One important thing that's changed his vaccination status. According to NFL spokespeople, Newton got the COVID-19 vaccine in October after having, been wavered about it. There's some quarterbacks, Kirk Cousins supposedly hasn't been vaccinated. Also, Carson Wentz, several other players have said that they have not been vaccinated. They haven't taken the same kind of flack. But now the Panthers have officially signed Newton. That sets up a great matchup in Week 11 when they face off against the Washington football team that is now coached by his former coach, Ron Rivera, who is the head coach of the Panthers at the time of Newton's tenure in Carolina. So it's going to be interesting to see. It's not likely that Newton's going to start on Sunday when the Panthers take on the Arizona Cardinals. Since the timeline is so tight, Carolina does have a starter lined up, P.J. Walker, a 26-year-old veteran, made just one start in his NFL career. So it's all fair in love and war. I've always pulled for Cam Newton just because he's a champion, won a junior college national championship, won a national championship at Auburn University. And oftentimes people have just looked at his flamboyance and said, well, he's more into off the field than on the field. That's not true when you look at his numbers. If he's more into himself off the field than on the field, how did he win the MVP? If he's more into himself off the field than on the field, how did he ever become the NFL MVP? Think about that. Give Cam Newton praise for hanging in there, even though people turn their back on him because he marches to a beat of his own. But he's going to be more team-focused. So I want to bring up this thought about Cam Newton, and I'm going to mix it in with some college football too. But I'll do it a little bit later because I also want to touch on this fact with the NFL. So Cam Newton has gotten the chance to sign on with the Carolina Panthers, the team that he took to a Super Bowl and won an NFL MVP in 2015. So congratulations to Cam Newton, and also congratulations to the Carolina Panthers for giving that man a chance and an opportunity. That's all fair and love and war. Also, some breaking news that came out today also. Los Angeles is a great place. And Odell Beckham Jr. has agreed to a contract with the Los Angeles Rams. The team announced that today. The free agent wide receiver. He joins an already high-powered offense led by quarterback Matthew Stafford and adds a lot more speed and depth to the depth chart at the already deep wide receiver position. Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, and Van Jefferson. And Beckham can still take it the distance. Didn't get a lot of opportunity in Cleveland. I think he'll be more of a team player in Los Angeles because he just has to be. If not, then he'll be the same situation in Cleveland. Don't complain if you don't have the ball, just block. So when you think about it, Beckham became a free agent when he cleared waivers on Tuesday after being released by the Cleveland Browns, Kansas City Chiefs, Green Bay Packers, New Orleans Saints, and the Patriots, as well as the Seahawks. They were also talking to him. Several teams were talking to him. But Stafford said today, the quarterback now for the Rams, which I think is going to be I won't say a home run, but a touchdown for the Rams. They have the Super Bowl this year at SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, and the Rams are going all out to try to get there. So this is important because, not that he would say anything different, but the quarterback, Matt Stafford, said today he has a lot of respect for Beckham. And a lot of athletes do. The media doesn't like him, but athletes love him. Who he played with at a Pro Bowl, and he congratulated Beckham for being outstanding both with the ball and also off the field. See, the only thing that people don't like about Beckham is what the media has talked about him. Okay, of course an athlete's going to say good things about him, but why would they not? So what I like about that too is the players, if they didn't want him there, believe me, he wouldn't be there. It's an opportunity for him as a team and an opportunity for him as a player to go and provide that extra receiver for the Rams. He can prove himself. And what the room is all about, the receiver room is pretty special, and he knows he'll fit right in because it's all about winning. And the Rams, they really just want to win. Stafford said if Beckham wants to win, that's what they're all about. He was confident he'll be able to contribute, just has to learn the system. He says everybody on the team, they carve out their own role. They do a great job of figuring out what the role is, and then you just do it. You rise and shine. You got to rise and shine on the field. If you're not getting the ball, make sure you're a blocker. And they're expecting that out of Beckham. I think he's going to have a fabulous renaissance in Los Angeles because he still doesn't have to be the best receiver, but he can be a game breaker. Los Angeles media, I think the media in LA, they'll love him more than the media in Cleveland. Los Angeles is used to flamboyance. Los Angeles is used to showtime for the Lakers. They're used to the showtime where even when USC was dominant back in the days of winning national championships, there were always movie stars around the Coliseum. Maybe that's what they're missing. Same thing with the Dodgers. It's the highest payroll in baseball. They're used to superstar athletes that bring that swagger. And I think that's going to help. So if you think about it, Los Angeles, Beckham essentially is going to replace the veteran wide receiver Deshaun Jackson, who was released after the trade deadline, and he signed with the Las Vegas Raiders. So still in the southern part of the country. So Beckham, the second high-profile player added by the Rams this month, after the Rams traded for 8-time Pro Bowl pass rusher Von Miller out of Denver, the Denver Broncos. And before the deadline last week, Miller welcomed Beckham to Los Angeles on his Instagram saying, "Let's chase this ring, family." So you got to be happy for athletes that find a chance to go where they want to go. Another thing about sports in Los Angeles, they're used to winning. Beckham was also welcomed to Los Angeles by the Lakers superstar King LeBron James, one of his good friends who tweeted, "Welcome to LA, my brother. It's goal time." So we got to get LeBron James got to get healthy again for the Lakers, but players know players. Game recognizes game. The Rams lead the NFL in total offense this season behind a dominant passing attack led by Stafford, who is first in the NFL with 2,771 passing yards. Kupp is the team's number one receiver. That's not going to change with Beckham, but Beckham's going to get his touches too. And he leads the NFL in Kupp, 74 receptions and 1,019 yards and then 10 touchdowns. So when you look at what the Rams have already, that's a lot to come in and give the Rams some praise. This is not a team that was lacking. They just want to add more fuel to the fire, if that makes sense to you. So the Browns, they excused Beckham from the practice last week, and now they got the deal negotiated. Baker Mayfield gets to see if he's the real deal in Cleveland. 3-time Pro Bowl selection, has 17 catches, 232 yards, and 0 touchdowns in 6 games this season with Cleveland. Beckham had 1,035 receiving yards in 2019, his first season with Cleveland, but suffered a season-ending knee injury in 2020 and has passed for 1,000 yards receiving mark 5 times in his career. So I think when you look at what Beckham brings to the Rams, they can stretch the field. They already could stretch the field. Now they can do it even more. He's going to be like lightning in the bottle for that offense. Who do you cover? They're really solid on offense and defense. I think Beckham definitely going to help. Also, sometimes you need a new attitude and you need a new look. You got to go where you want it. And I think with him going to L.A., he'll get a chance to fit right in. It doesn't mean that he's going to be dynamic for them, but he'll definitely get his chance to fit right in. He's going to fly into their way of doing things offensively. And I expect the Rams, they're just going to get better. It's like the rich get richer in Los Angeles. He's like a lightning bolt, personality-wise and with his play in the field. And I think it's only going to help them as they chase. They got to try to chase down the Arizona Cardinals. They're going to have to keep their foot on the pedal because the Arizona Cardinals are good. They're a really good team. And speaking of, so congratulations to the Rams for just trying to be the greatest show on turf again, part 2, back in the days of Kurt Warner and Marshall Faulk and all them good old boys. Now, Isaac Bruce, if you remember those days, this team is even more loaded than that team. Now, Thursday night football. Are you ready for some Thursday night football? Of course you are. Ready for Thursday night football. Oh, lightning in the bottle, if you could catch it. I wouldn't really want to catch lightning in the bottle, it might hurt. But the Dolphins are home to the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens on Thursday night. Superman Lamar Jackson. Must-see TV. You think about it. They're going to get Week 10 off early tonight on Thursday night. Second half of the regular season started just a few hours ago. These two AFC clubs will scare off at Hard Rock Stadium for Thursday night football. The Ravens, they're coming off a thrilling overtime victory over the Minnesota Vikings that made them now 6-2 on this season. Man, they've come behind several games this year. You don't want to come behind in Miami. A little bit of heat and humidity is not going to be a factor down there. But think about the Dolphins' 2021 campaign hasn't gone as well as a lot of people thought it would coming into the year. They were a playoff team last year. Now they're only 2-7 on the season. They have questions at quarterback with Tua Tagovailoa, dealing with an injury to his finger and his throwing hand. If he's unable to go, Jacoby Brissett would get the starting nod and look at his second consecutive win after defeating the Texans in Week 9. But when you think about Baltimore's a dominant team. The kickoff was already underway at 8:20 p.m. kicked off East Coast time at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami, Florida, on Fox and the NFL Network. You can also stream it on Fubo TV, and then you can follow on the CBS Sports app. Baltimore comes in a 7.5-point favorite. The over-under is 47. Actually, they call it 46.5. So when you think about it, the Ravens initially opened a 7-point favorite over Miami, but that number has since bumped over the touchdown threshold to 7.5 with the status of under center for the Dolphins in question. I look at the Ravens, just when you think they can go in there and blow them out, they should win by 10. I don't think they'll have to come from behind in this game, but it's hard to see the Dolphins being able to keep up with the Ravens offense, no matter how packed the Hard Rock Cafe Stadium is. If they're going to have fans in the house, they're probably there to watch Superman Lamar Jackson do his thing. Baltimore's averaging 6.1 yards per play, which is tied for third highest mark in the NFL. Meanwhile, the Dolphins sit at last in the league, averaging just 4.7 yards per play. And with Baltimore's defense, it hasn't been that strong lately, but strong enough to keep winning because they have Superman Lamar Jackson. Don't think Miami has the offense to keep up with them. So on Thursday, the Ravens also playing well on Thursdays, going 4-1-1 against the spread the last 6 games. And the Dolphins are 1-3 against the spread as an underdog pick. So I'm looking for the Ravens to get a big win in this game. Most likely they're going to win somewhere like 35-17, in my opinion. Even if they don't score 35, they'll most likely win 28-17. They're going to get their points, and you know they will because they have a good defense. They have a good offense with Lamar Jackson doing his thing, coming into Miami where there's just not a lot of success right now in Miami. I think Flores will get another year to prove that this year was an anomaly. They got to figure out how to get a quarterback because Tua, you can't count on him if he's always banged up. That's just an opinion. Everybody has their own opinion. We're going to take what's called the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. When we come back, we're going to talk about more of what's going on in the sports universe. In the words of the former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. All right, we are back for the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. On Happy Veterans Day to all of our veterans that have fought for this country. It's all fair and level work. Give them all some praise. Give all of our veterans some praise from Big C Sports. Just finished talking about the Los Angeles Rams. Odell Beckham Jr. is going to be suiting up with the Rams now, and that's just going to make their offense a lot better. He'll be explosive. Again, he only has to do his thing for the last half of the season. And then, of course, when you think about a Cam Newton, Cam goes back to where he started in Carolina as he was an NFL MVP for the Carolina Panthers. They bring him back. I think the Panthers have just made their team better. You have Christian McCaffrey in the backfield with that run-pass option with the Cam Newton. It's going to make the defense have to stay home no matter who they play. I think it's going to get him into the system. He'll probably start out next week playing all fair and level work. I want to run some of the top NFL running backs right now as of this week coming up in NFL football. And everybody has their own opinion about who the best running backs are, but it's just Big C's thoughts. I love giving my thoughts on what guys can take it to the house. Going to cover some of the top NFL running backs and whether people like them or not, whether their teams are winning or not. It's really not all about that, but just seeing what a running back does. I played running back when I was in college. It's all fair and level war. Through 9 games, 140 attempts, 821 rush yards, 5.9 yards per carry, 8 rushing touchdowns, 23 receptions, 293 receiving yards, 1 touchdown. Also had 3 fumbles. But right now, I like the performance of Jonathan Taylor's been doing his thing for the Indianapolis Colts, a second-year player. He's the first player not named Derek Touchdown Henry to hold the number 1 spot in Big C's rankings since week 14 of last year. But with Henry on the injury reserve now out for the season, it's a shame that they didn't give Henry a couple more runs to get over 1,000. I know he was injured. If you're injured, you're injured. But if you think about it, 2,000 yards last year, the injury stops him from going over 2,000 again this year. But right now, that opens the door for a great running back in Jonathan Taylor. And I think what I love about him, he recorded 6 straight games with 100-plus yards from scrimmage and at least 1 touchdown. And the first player since the great LaDainian Tomlinson Hall of Famer in 2006 MVP campaign to do that in his season. So you can give that good a boy. That's a lot of praise when running backs. I have a special place in my heart for running backs as they get hit almost every play. They got 11 guys looking at them. and they still do their thing. Number 2, Big C's NFL football top running backs is, I'm going to go with I will leave it at the drum roll. Number 2, 2021 stats, 7 games, 120 rush attempts, 721 yards, averaging 6 yards per carry, 6 rushing touchdowns, 8 receptions, 69 yards, and has 2 fumbles. I mean, that's not bad through 7 games. But I'm going to give it to Nick Chubb. Now, Chubb ran the Browns to victory over Cincinnati, 137 yards and 2 touchdowns. He did it only on 14 carries. So you know he got his chest in the win. He's a solid force for the offense for the Cleveland Browns. A 4-year player. Going to see him. It might be the absence on Sundays. Chubb's tested positive for COVID-19 on Tuesday. And so Cleveland could use the number 1 back against the Patriots have a tough defense. He's going to be out for that game. But I still say it's amazing how he's been able to run the ball so consistently. Number 3 on the list as Big C's top NFL running backs, 2021 through 9 games, 150 attempts, 636 yards rushing, 4.2 yards per carry, 7 rushing touchdowns, 22 receptions, 94 yards, 2 receiving touchdowns. Also has 1 fumble. That's the great Joe Mixon. Plays for the Cincinnati Bengals. In the midst of a much-needed bye week after 2 brutal losses, Mixon has scored 5 touchdowns from scrimmage in the last 3 games. And he'll need to continue that. He has to pick up that pace as they have some games coming up at the Raiders versus the Steelers, also against the Chargers. So when you look at running backs, I love to give running backs praise because they get hit on every play by everybody. They don't take time out. I mean, if they run out of bounds, that's one thing, but really do appreciate the way that running backs can pick it up and lay it down. So I give Joe Mixon number 3. Number 4 on Big C's top running backs in the NFL for this week. 2021 stats through 8 games played, 146 attempts, 530 yards, average only 3.6 yards per carry, 3 rushes, touchdowns, 32 receptions, 310 yards, 4 receiving touchdowns. So that makes up for the rushing touchdowns. So 7 touchdowns overall through 8 games. And again, most importantly, no fumbles. That's Alvin Kamara, a 5th-year player out of the New Orleans Saints, having a pretty incredible campaign. Again, they lost touchdown, Teddy. It's all made. I hate when athletes get injured. But Jameis Winston, touchdown Jameis Winston, man. And you still think about Kamara having the bullseye on his chest, averaging 105 yards per scrimmage per game, with a chance to match the mark this weekend against the Tennessee Titans, who have allowed 3 running backs to gain 100 yards from scrimmage. So Trevor Siemian taking over for Jameis Winston. Kamara still has to be the guy you count on. Getting the ball out of the backfield if you have to run it or pass it, give him the chance to run the ball out of the backfield. All fair and level work. Number 5 on Big C's NFL running backs, and the top running backs of this week so far in the NFL. Give them all praise so far. Going to go with number 5. This guy has really had a renaissance. 2021 stats through 8 games, 128 attempts, 622 yards, 4.9 yards per carry, 5 rushing touchdowns, 23 receptions, 153 yards receiving, 1 touchdown, no fumble. So he has 6 touchdowns. It's Dallas Cowboys Zeke Elliott. So you got to go with Ezekiel Elliott. Had knee contusion and the Cowboys lost to the Broncos. The whole team played bad. Throw away that take. Had a season-low 10 carries. But just missed just 1 game of his career due to injury. Elliott is the rest of the Cowboys will be looking to erase the memories. Just throw away that tape from Week 9. Playing against Atlanta's defense is a good way to do that for the number 21 rusher. He wears number 21, wears it good. Has 323 yards from scrimmage and rushing, 2 touchdowns, and 2 career games versus the Falcons. May go over the 100-yard mark again against Atlanta's defense. I'm going to go number 6 in Big C's NFL top running backs 2021 stats. Through only 6 games, 115 attempts, 554 rush yards, 4.8 yards per carry, 2 rushing touchdowns, 15 receptions, 85 yards. No, you can't look at the touchdowns for him. He does have 2 fumbles, but he's only played in 6 games. That's the great Dalvin Cook, a 5th-year player for the Minnesota Vikings. Had a nice performance last week against the Baltimore Ravens, 110 rushing yards. And the reason he's climbing the rankings, in my opinion, is because he expects to play more against the Chargers on Sunday. His response was a recent lawsuit if he's need. He's on the field at SoFi Stadium. Cook will likely feast against the Chargers defense right now, allowing the most yards per game, 161 yards. So you got to look at that too. Give them all praise, those running backs. I want to say running back is a hard deal, but give them all praise. My next player, really like this guy. I've seen him since high school. 2021 stats through 8 games, 150 attempts, 541 rush yards, averaging 3.6 yards per carry, 4 rushing touchdowns, has 40 receptions, 289 yards, and 2 touchdowns receiving. And important, no fumbles. The great Naji Harris, he's a rookie out of Alabama by way of Antioch High School over here in Northern California in the East Bay. Tied for the 4th most from scrimmage yards among running backs heading into Week 10. Naji has been giving the Steelers a lot of pep in their offense now. Their offense has a balanced attack. Big Ben Roethlisberger, he's not a deep threat to throw downfield. So whenever Naji has the ball, you have the safeties playing a little bit closer, so that may cut down on his yards per carry also. But he still has 541 rush yards through 8 games. I like what he's doing. I think about how strong he is as a running back. He gets stronger as the game goes on pace for 404 touches this year. He's taken on a massive role as a centerpiece for the Steelers' attack, especially with Big Ben not being able to throw deep downfield, all fair and level war. My number 8 player and NFL top running backs. Yeah, give Naji Harris some praise out of Northern California. Got to give Northern California players some praise. Praise. Now, coming up for my number 8 players, I think this guy's amazing. Through 9 games, 2021 stats, only 115 attempts, 454 rush yards, 4 yards per carry, 10 rushing touchdowns, 10 receptions, 111 yards, and 1 reception touchdown. Does have 2 fumbles, but I saw him play this weekend at Levi Stadium in San Francisco, Santa Clara. James Conner, 5-year player. It's unique that he's listed in the top 10 among the second half breakout candidates, both of which can be true. When Conner was last healthy and featured running back, he was a dominant presence in Pittsburgh's backfield. This kid has breakaway speed, scored 3 touchdowns in San Francisco, 1 where he just took it to the house, and he has speed that once he gets the corner, he's in the end zone. Really appreciate him. Talked to him after the game in the press room, and he keeps his head to the grindstone. He just wants to do his job and help the Cardinals win. But I tell you, he had 3 touchdowns in Week 9 against the 49ers. He has a lot more running back left in him. Really appreciate him. Number 9 in Big C's NFL running back power rankings. 2021 stats through 9 games, 116 attempts, 516 rush yards, averaging 4.4 yards per carry, 3 rushing touchdowns, has 33 receptions, 237 yards, 4 receiving touchdowns. He does have 2 fumbles. That's not bad, though. I really like the way he plays. His name is Touchdown Aaron Jones for the Green Bay Packers. When you think about it, see the Packers throw the ball 34 times with Jordan Love replacing Aaron Rodgers, as opposed to leaning on Jones, 12 carries, 53 yards, and then Dillon with 8 carries, 46 yards. Against the Chiefs, whose defense has been a liability all season long. But when you think about it, LaFleur has the guy that can really tote the rock, and Aaron Jones. He's a first down maker. And when you think about it, he's a guy who's a threat catching and running the ball. Really appreciate that. So I really like what he does. And when touchdown Aaron Rodgers come back, they have a good 1-2 combination in the backfield, whether Rodgers rolls out and throws it downfield to one of his fleeting receivers, or if he hands the ball off to Aaron Jones. I really do appreciate the way Aaron Jones runs the football. Number 10 for Big C's NFL top running backs. And again, it's just my opinion. Everybody has their own opinion. And I'm going to go with who I think is really worthy of climbing that ladder. And it's only going to get better. 2021 stats. 8 games, 121 attempts, 562 yards, averaging 4.6 yards per carry, 5 rushing touchdowns, 19 receptions, 144 yards. He's like another receiver. 2 reception touchdowns, and then 0 fumbles. What I really like about him, his name is Darrell Henderson, a 3rd-year pro for the Los Angeles Rams. Man, the rich get richer. He missed some of last week's game with an ankle injury, but should be able to go on Monday night against the division rival San Francisco 49ers up in San Francisco. 20 carries in a game just once. But he's so effective, averaging nearly 5 yards per carry, and further validate Sean McVay's quality approach in regard to the run game. So those are Big C's top 10 NFL running backs as of coming into week 10. You know, he may have not made that list. A touchdown, Derrick Henry been available, but I got to give him all praise. Give him praise. We're going to take what's called the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. When we come back, we're going to talk more about something happening in the world of college football. In the words of the former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger, I'll be back. All right, we are back from the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout, on a happy Veterans Day for all of our United States military. Really do appreciate the great service that they do for this great country. Give them all praise. Really do appreciate that. You know, with all the talk about COVID and Aaron Rodgers, how it affects players and how you put other people in jeopardy, I want to have a thought about it because on the college scene, NCAA college football universe, think about what happens here. In the Pac-12, just last week, Arizona Wildcats snapped a 20-game losing streak in the Pac-12, and they did it by beating Cal Berkeley. Now, Cal Berkeley only had 42 players that were able to suit up because of COVID-19. And I know we're in an era where people say, "Oh, I don't want to be political," or it's just COVID, people get through it. But Cal Berkeley, they only had 42 players, scholarship players, suit up for the game at Arizona, and they lost 10-3. So now, just coming out this week, the USC Cal Berkeley football game has been rescheduled. It was scheduled for Saturday, but it's been postponed. That Cal announced this week. It was a difficult decision to postpone Saturday's game against USC, and that was from the Cal athletic director, Jim Knowlton. He said in a statement, "We know how important it is for every one of our student athletes, especially the seniors who've been incredibly representative of the program, but it was the right thing to do because they don't want to have the spread of COVID, especially going off campus, as a lot of student athletes may be going off campus for the Thanksgiving holiday, maybe being around elderly people. So due to the additional impact on specific position players, the Pac-12 Cal Berkeley decided to postpone Saturday's game. They've had multiple COVID-19 positives within the Cal Berkeley football program, and they're taking every step they can to mitigate the spread and protect the greater community. Now, the schools later agreed and received the Pac-12's approval to reschedule that makeup game for December the 4th, a day after the conference title game that follows the precedent set when the big game between Cal and Stanford was postponed in 2018 due to poor air quality that hit the Bay Area at that time. So Cal undermanned for its game against Arizona on Saturday with 42 players. Now they say, think about this, about 24 tested positive for COVID-19 during the week. And the team has a 99% vaccination rate among players and experienced additional positive cases after the Arizona game. Think about that. 99% of their players have been vaccinated, and they're still testing positive for COVID. Doctors say you're less likely to have side effects from it, but when they've gotten vaccinated and they're still having COVID run through Cal Berkeley's football program, so that affects Arizona players because they had more players come up positive after the game that they just had with Cal Berkeley. Cal Berkeley had more players come up positive. I don't know anything about what happened with the University of Arizona players, but that's something. And then Aaron Rodgers, when he was saying about he was inoculated or immunized, how many people did he expose? Because he tested positive too. We know he was at a party, and people might say, well, they recover, but what if you're around elderly people that don't have your same immune system? What about people that came in contact with you and they go interact with other people who have a weaker immune system, like some of the coaches and the owners of the NFL? So when you think about what happened with Berkeley, during a meeting with the University Health Services this week, Cal defensive lineman Luke Bequette tweeted, part of they wanted to be, I mean, some of the players don't like it, but the players are not doctors. So in the request for additional context about the allegations from players confirming to sources that players want to play anyway, but you got to keep people healthy, even if they don't have the common sense to keep themselves healthy. because it's not about that 20-year-old athlete or 19 or 21-year-old athlete. It's about the people they come in contact with. So when it's big news, especially when the Pac-12, they knew players were positive. They allowed Cal Berkeley to travel to Arizona and play the Arizona Wildcats anyway. They let them go there anyway. And since that game, more players have tested positive for COVID-19 for the Cal Berkeley football program. And now, because of that, they have to cancel the game with the USC Trojans this week. So whoever says, oh, it's just COVID, it's just, it'll just go away, it'll come and go, you got to keep that in mind too. Because you can put people in jeopardy that don't have the same immune system that you have. So I want to congratulate Cal Berkeley. Congratulations, Cal Berkeley, for doing what you had to do, irrespective of what people feel that they just want to play the game. Again, more players tested positive for COVID after they went down and played University of Arizona. If Arizona does any type of COVID testing to their players, are they going to find that more players are injured also? That's something that you can't really joke about. Again, going into the holidays when you have people getting ready to travel for Thanksgiving, that's just about, 10 days away, 11 days, 10 days away, people traveling through airports, also through cars, going into different households, interacting with people who are older, may have a compromised immune system. And if these athletes who are in the best shape of their lives, 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, if they can come down with COVID, and they're saying in some parts, and depending on what county you are and what source you listen to, that's what the medical industry wants to stop the spread of it. So I'm not a doctor. I just say keep your head tuned to what's going on in the news. You can't be deterred by an athlete saying, I want to play the game, I want to play the game. Well, Cal Berkeley and the University of Southern California, 2 UC programs, have postponed the game because of COVID. Now, this may be offensive to some, maybe it won't be. But they have high academic standards in those programs, and there are a lot of programs who overlook things just so they can play the game. So if USC and Cal Berkeley have postponed, what's Arizona going to do? I mean, I don't know. I think they're ramping up protesting. There are people doing what Aaron Rodgers did, saying, oh, it's no big deal, I was immunized. But if anyone gets sick because of it, you got to wonder where the source came from. So I applaud the Pac-12 for doing their thing. We're going to take what's called the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about some NBA basketball in the NBA basketball universe. And the words of the former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'll be back. All right, we are back from the Big C pause, also known as the Big C timeout. You can follow Big C Sports on a happy Veterans Day all over the world on 17 podcast applications and then 4 TV applications. Give that some praise. Really do appreciate that as we celebrate Happy Veterans Day for 2021, November the 11th. Love, love, love paying homage to our NBA. And the NBA, the way they celebrate Veterans Day, they have a light schedule today, even though there's still some games being played. Toronto's at Philadelphia. That game is going to be in the city of brotherly love. Hopefully they won't boo anyone from Toronto, if that makes sense to you. Also, Indiana Pacers, they're at the Utah Utes. That will tip off in fact, it's already tipped off at 6 p.m. And then Miami, the Miami Heat at the LA Clippers. That game will tip off at Staples Center at 7:30 p.m. It's all fair and love and war. So NBA basketball always doing a good job celebrating on Veterans Day. And they have a light schedule tonight because of that. Last night, the Los Angeles Lakers had a good game from Russell Westbrook, a 120-117 overtime win against the Miami Heat. And Russell Westbrook, he just coming into his form. A lot of people were complaining that maybe he's not the right fit for the Lakers. But I think in time he will show that he's more than enough of the right fit. But I also want to touch on what my son Malcolm and I talked about today. Golden State Warriors with a 123-110 win over the Minnesota Timberwolves. And when you think about the Golden State Warriors at that beautiful Chase Center, the lightning bolts of they're a great team. In my opinion, best team in the NBA right now is the Golden State Warriors. And everybody has their own opinion as to why. But a lot of it has to do with just they're all around play. It's not just Steph Curry where there's Wiggins doing his thing. Steph Curry gets everybody into the action. And I know that people want to find a way to crown a team right now as the NBA champion. No way to do that. But when you think about what the Warriors have been able to do, they have taken a team that was a young team last year, and they had a lot of growing pains going through them. And they kept Draymond Green, who still, to me, is the heart and soul of that Warriors lineup. And then with Steph Curry, Steve Kerr has a good thing on his hands. It's just a matter of time as they keep climbing the ranks of being successful in the Western Conference. I really love what they're doing. Even so, more news around the NBA, with the NBA back in full swing. Only a matter of time until the trade season finally kicks into high gear. 2021 trade deadline pushed back into late March because of unusual December start last year, 2020-21 campaign. But it's right around the corner now. And when you think about the big name, there are people talking about Simmons. Well, Simmons will most likely be out of Philadelphia, but where's he going to go? He's been the middle of a trade talk since the 76ers were eliminated from the playoffs last year, and he's going to remain the center of attention when it comes to that. I know he's talking about some mental health issues too. Don't want to take that lightly. Hopefully, he'll find a place that can embrace him on and off the court, if that makes sense to you. There's another big name with the Brooklyn Nets. When you think about it, Kyrie Irving, where will he go? And if he's not vaccinated, who's going to want to bring him in? The Nets have not reached out to suitors looking to get rid of the 7-time All-Star. The situation is going to be worth mentioning because he will make a team better if he can get through COVID protocol. The state of New York's not going to change their COVID protocol. And when you think about Kyrie Irving and thinking, well, it's not a big deal, I don't want to get vaccinated, whether he or Aaron Rodgers, look at what just happened to the USC and Cal Berkeley football game that's been postponed due to COVID-19 outbreak on the football team of the University of California, Berkeley Golden Bears. People might say, oh, it's just an isolated incident. No, it's not. They had 42 people suited up for the game at Arizona last week. And it spread even more among the Berkeley football team. They canceled this week's game against USC. So if you're a professional athlete, who's going to bring that guy in without being vaccinated? Being part of the media for Big C Sports, I have to show my vaccination for media credentials. They don't care, my beliefs. Buddy Hield for the Sacramento Kings, Marvin Bagley III, the Kings. You know, Hield was nearly traded to the Lakers during the offseason before the Lakers ultimately decided to require Russell Westbrook, who had a good game last night at the Staples Center. It would not be a surprise to see him on the move. Bagley, meantime, has to get off to a fresh start after falling out of the rotation. Gordon Dragic for the Raptors. The Raptors general manager Bobby Webster said before the season that Toronto wanted to keep Dragic, so we'll see what happens with that. Terrence Ross with the Orlando Magic, one of the oldest players in Orlando's roster. Ross just isn't a great fit for the rebuilding team. And multiple contenders will likely be calling on the Magic for his leadership. It's all fair and love and war, but there's going to have to be an address of the COVID issue. There's even talk that the Lakers, I mean, they got their team right now. They just got to keep people healthy. That's all that matters. I know that people have their own personal thoughts about should they get a COVID vaccine or not. I would just say talk to the doctors. Talk to your doctors. Those are the same people that you'll go to if you happen to fall ill for whatever reason, or if anyone that you know falls ill for whatever reason. They go to the doctors. They don't talk to an athlete to say, I did my own study. Okay, everybody has their own opinion about it, but we always want to salute our first responders. What do first responders do? They take the 911 call, and they show up to help administer whatever they can to help people stay safe and stay healthy. So we celebrate our Veterans Day. We talk about our first responders all the time. Athletes or the general population, no matter who you are, if you have to make that call to 911, someone's going to show up, they're going to check your vital signs, and they're going to administer whatever first aid they can. And people know that's true. So don't be selfish enough to put other people in the need of calling for 911 help. That's just an opinion. Everybody has their own opinion. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on 17 podcast applications and 4 TV applications. Back in the day, There's a man by the name of Drew Boudini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man, and he would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, you sting like a bee, you rumble, young man, rumble. And with all you've got to use, how can you lose? Ali said, I'm pretty. I eat so many Big C burgers I can't possibly be beat because the Big C burgers make me land on my feet. It's all fair in the war. Oh, I love the Big C burgers. I don't know if they make you light on your feet, but I do love them. It's all fair in the war. As my beautiful mother always says, there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. If you know any man, woman, or child going through that garbage, pick up the phone and ask for help, because no man, woman, or child should ever have to go through that garbage on their own. As we always tell you, on this happy Veterans Day of 2021 from Big C Sports, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super happy Veterans Day.